the whole Epstein scandal. Obviously, Trump's been in the firing line with that recently with his fallout with Elon Musk. How do you think, I mean, was the CIA aware that this was going on? Did they have intel? I mean, maybe they didn't have cause to have any necessary intel, because am I right in thinking that the island was somewhere in the Caribbean, was it? Or was it the British Virgin Islands?
So the thing to remember is that Epstein was an American citizen. Mm-hmm. So we already discussed Americans would fall under the collection of FBI, not under the collection of CIA.
Apologies. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Now, because if his island was foreign located, it would have been a joint operation in some senses, and many of the people that he had to his island were foreigners. But this is part of the confusion. This is part of what makes it difficult. Americans have a right to privacy. Americans have a right to due process. Americans have various rights that make it so that until you've committed a crime or are suspected of a crime, there is no just cause for us to collect against you. So having CIA devote resources to Epstein it would be a very difficult case. I would have a very hard time believing the CIA put much effort, if any, into collecting on Epstein. I could see FBI doing it because Epstein would be a very viable candidate for counterintelligence, meaning he could be a target for a foreign intelligence agency. He would be a fantastic access agent to get to foreign emissaries, diplomats, business people, etc. So the man had operational value for the United States through the lens of FBI and mildly through the lens of CIA. But to think that either of CIA or FBI would be involved in supporting his efforts to abuse American citizens, to break human rights, to break, child trafficking laws is silly. That doesn't necessarily mean that they weren't aware that he was doing it, but to have the idea that they would ever facilitate it or support it's a different story. They could have been building a case on him because he went to jail. Obviously, there was a case that was built against him. Building a case takes time, right? It takes months or years of observing somebody systematically breaking the law. That's one reason why bad guys get to do what they do, even though good guys know it's happening. The files have not been released. Why have the files not been released? Again, there's any number of reasons for that. It could cause public panic. It could disclose current operations. It could just be that the information we think we know, we don't actually know. Who knows? But there is an element of mystery, conspiracy around this guy where my logic tells me that at best, in terms of relevance, at best, he was a criminal that got caught doing criminal things. At worst, he was a foreign intelligence reporter giving secrets about American politicians and American elite to a foreign government. And then still, at the end of the day, he was a criminal that met his end.
For the whole Epstein thing, I just think he's someone who created such a powerful network. We referenced there with celebrities and the rich and famous. And there was a level of blackmail, in a sense, because wasn't the talks that he filmed a lot of the things that had gone on, and he used that to provide his innocence for so many years till eventually it caught up on him. That was my kind of take on the whole overview. But as you say, the files haven't been released and there's multiple reasons why. Andrew, it's been great chatting the whole geopolitics, but I want you to now, obviously I like giving back with this platform, and obviously just explain what it is you do now, Everyday Spy, your own company, and obviously you've got a book coming out. So basically just sell yourself, mate.
Everydayspy.com is my business. We specialize in bringing spy skills that break barriers, the same kind of barriers that CIA broke for me when I first joined them. So mental barriers and physical barriers, helping you get ahead at work, helping you get ahead in business, helping you get ahead even in just mastering your own personal sense of self-discipline and physical health. We bring all the elements of espionage into everyday life, hence the name Everyday Spy. And we have a book coming out September 9th. My CIA Ops memoir will be released. It's been 4 years in the making, and I'm very excited for it because it took me 1 year to write it, but it took me 3 years to debate and argue with CIA to get it released, because it was a book that CIA truly was trying to block from publishing. It's the most modern CIA memoir, Ops memoir, ever written. It talks about not operations from 20 years ago, but operations from less than 15 years ago, operations that are still active against adversaries that are still making headlines every day. We go into a level of tradecraft, we go into a level of operational actions that has never been seen before, and all of those things together made CIA very nervous. So they continue to try to exercise my gag order or my secrecy agreement against me. And I did my best to kind of operate within the confines of the law. But at the end of the day, I brought in an attorney, and I had my attorney review our case, and our attorney believed that we were being unrightfully abused, and our First Amendment rights would allow us to release the book. So we had to go back to CIA at the end and say, hey, we're going to file a First Amendment lawsuit and make this book public, or you can release the book. You can give us permission to release the book through normal commercial channels. And at that point in time, they decided to let us published publicly rather than pursue any kind of legal debate or legislation against them.
So I got given a advanced copy of it, and I'm halfway through, and it is a really good read. I don't even think this isn't the finalised draft I've been given either, but so far it's a really good read. Obviously, everything will be put in the description, but just for the listeners who are a bit lazy, they don't want to look at the description. Where can people purchase this? I'm assuming Amazon.
Absolutely. You'll find the book everywhere books are sold. So it's published worldwide. So audiobooks are on everything from Apple Books to Amazon and Kindle and Audible. And you've got ebooks that are everywhere, and your bookstores in the airport, your favorite bookstore online, your favorite bookstore in your neighborhood is carrying a copy as well. Shadow Cell, released on September 9th.
CIA believes that all people are born with a spy secret superpower. For some people, that means they can win deals. For others, they can spot liars. Some can even seduce lovers. I built a free 3-minute test to help reveal to you exactly what your secret hidden superpower is. All you have to do is click on the link in the description below, take the test, and start using your spy superpower to stay ahead of 99% of people.
Awesome. Yeah, so get a copy of that. Obviously, it's Andrew, our latest guest, who's the author of that. You co-wrote it with your wife, is that correct? So I suppose, but deviate, I was kind of like was wrapping up, but I feel as though we need to touch on this. You met your wife whilst in CIA, is that correct? So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my wife and I came from two totally different backgrounds. I was military. My wife was actually in refugee law. And we both got recruited into the CIA through two different kind of ways, and we met at orientation on the first day of CIA indoctrination training and became friends, and then started dating. CIA really likes it when people date within the agency because it allows us to spend more time at work. They just don't like it when you get married, because once you get married, now you have a human that kind of takes precedence over the work. Mm-hmm. So they encouraged us while we were dating, and then they tried to slow us down while we were married. And of course, we had our children, and our children are a big part of why we left CIA.
And I mean, you get asked this on every single podcast, so it'd be rude for me to not ask it as well. How do we know you're still not working for CIA?
That's a great question, and you don't know that. So if that's something that you're worried about, then I wish I had a better answer for you. But the truth is, if I can say what I can say, it should show that I'm not CIA. And if you think that that's part of the game, then maybe you're just smarter than me.